By April 2022, the situation on the battlefield appeared to be turning in Ukraine's favor. It had beaten back Russian forces from around Kiev and shown evidence to the world of alleged Russian war crimes that provoked international condemnation, although Moscow denied them. Western countries were scaling up military aid to Kiev and escalating sanctions on Moscow, all factors that made Ukraine less inclined to accede to Russian demands. According to a detailed account of the peace talks in the journal Foreign Affairs by historian Sergei Radchenko and analyst Samuel Charap, published last year by the New York Times, Ukraine was prepared to become a permanently neutral, non-aligned, and nuclear-free state, with no foreign troops or weapons on its soil. These terms would have barred from joining NATO, but allowed for the possibility of EU membership. In return, Ukraine would have received security guarantees from a group of countries, including the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council: Britain, China, Russia, the United States, and France. A partially agreed draft said the guarantor states, including Russia, would respect and observe Ukraine's independence and sovereignty and refrain from the threat or use of force against it. The draft proposed holding talks over a period of 10 to 15 years regarding the status of Crimea, which Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014. What were the key points of disagreement? If Ukraine was attacked, it wanted the guarantors to provide assistance that could include closing airspace over Ukraine, providing necessary weapons, using armed force in order to restore and subsequently maintain the security of Ukraine as a permanently neutral state. But Russia insisted any decision must be agreed by all guarantor states, meaning Moscow would have a veto. The two sides disagreed sharply on the future size of Ukraine's armed forces and its military arsenal. For example, Kiev was ready to agree to cap the size of its forces at 250,000, with 800 tanks and a maximum missile firing range of 280 kilometers. Russia was demanding limits on Ukraine of 85,000 personnel, 342 tanks, and a 40 kilometers missile range. Moscow demanded that Ukraine recognize Russian as an official state language and end what it considers to be discrimination against Russian speakers, something Ukraine denies. Russia demanded the repeal of what it called laws of Ukraine on Nazification and glorification of Nazism. Ukraine rejects the Nazism charge as absurd.